Hello and welcome to Team Reptile Adventures. During the summer, we on Team Reptile offer camps through Springfield Township Parks and Recreation in southeastern Michigan. These camps are designed to be a fun way for participants to learn about Michigan wildlife. On our adventures, we often find lots of different animals, especially local reptiles and amphibians.
Oh, cool. Let's actually, let's put them in the bucket. We can put them in the bucket with the blue spotted, and then I'm going to tell you guys. Well, actually, why don't you guys show the camera, and then I'm going to tell. Did you guys know these are both the same kind of salamander? They're both called redback, but this is actually a leadback of the redbacks. So it's still a redback salamander, but it's called a leadback because it's got the, watch, he's going to run off again. Let him drop in your hand. He actually has a solid blackback, but they're the same thing. And what's really cool and unique about redback salamanders, you guys, is they're, like most salamanders start, that could be bad. Yeah, don't pull him by the tail. Is he coming back out? Most salamanders start in the water, like tadpoles do. They start as salamander larvae. But these guys start on the ground and they look just like the adults when they're born instead of looking like tadpoles. The redback salamanders actually breathe through their skin. They don't have any lungs at all. So they absorb all their oxygen through their skin. So imagine us not having lungs and not having to breathe in like that. Because we could just stand here and absorb all the oxygen through our body.
Cool.
Oh, look at that guy. He's missing his tail. These guys, what'll happen, see the way they jump? What'll happen is if you grab them by the tail, they'll detach their tail. They actually have the ability to do that. They can just drop their tail and their tail will continue to wiggle.
Like geckos?
Yeah.
Cheers.
So that animals will, like a predator that's trying to eat it. Yep, there's another leadback stage. Something that's trying to eat it will stay with the tail because the tail's sitting there wiggling just like a worm. And the salamander can get away. Ah, man, American toad! Watch me pee! Sorry. Found a toad, you guys.
Okay.
American toad, and then Courtney's got a wood frog.
Hey, is this one that was in there? Nope.
How can we tell it's a wood frog?
Brown.
It's got a black mask. It looks like Robin, or Batman, I mean. Oh, Robin. Looks like Batman. How about an American toad?
It's fat.
It has warts on it. It's usually a tan or gray color.
It's cool. So that's why they think.
What do the warts do, you guys?
They
Puts off, yeah.
The warts secrete stuff to keep them, they actually keep them moist. And they also secrete a poison like when they're eaten. So if a dog or something eats them. Can you get warts from them?
No.
No, not at all. Can the pea give you warts? No. Should you touch your mouth or eyes after the frog or toad pees on you?
No.
You shouldn't after any animal pees on you.
Because that would be wrong.
Because it's got stuff in it that could be bad for you. Look at the way he puffs up, you guys. See him puff up like that? When he puffs up, that's his way of trying to keep himself from being swallowed. Like if a little garter snake was trying to eat him, if he puffs up like that, the garter snake won't be able to expand his jaws. So he thinks he's been grabbed by a predator. But little does he know, he's been grabbed by his very best friend.
How are your hands going to eat him?
You and I. Let's dance, my little toad. Yeah. It doesn't know that it's a hand. It's just instinctively been told something's picked it up. Like a big bear.
You were just like,
Let me see that.
What kind of frog did you catch? Oh, you caught a huge wood frog. Look at that. Look at the color on that.
My frog that I
Little striped
saw.
legs. He's gonna
That
jump
was
though.
my frog that I saw.
Cool.
yeah, wait, can I? Wait,
Look
I'll
at
catch him
those
if he
stripes
don't.
on those legs.
Okay, put your hand over him.
It's like a tiger.
He's gonna jump. He's gonna jump.
Is he gonna jump? Hello, my friend. Welcome to my woodlands. I'm your father. Join me on the woodside. Look at him, he's even talking to him. He's like, whoa!
So it didn't seem as though the wood frog was going to fall for the old toe-dye mind trick, so we decided we
Yeah,
should
but let's
probably
let
let
'em
them
go
go
down
their
where no
own
one's gonna
separate
be walking.
ways. We let the toad and wood frog go and headed down toward a pond where we often find eastern newts. Today, however, I found something a little different that I wanted to be able to show the campers.
I didn't find any newts, but I did catch
Did you find any?
a green.
That's not the Chinese one.
Oh, really?
Wow, that's big.
Let me take a look at something real quick. That's what I thought. It's a female and she's pregnant.
What is it? What is it?
What is it?
See how, how big she is? She's carrying eggs right now.
Why did you take her then?
Did you catch
I'm gonna let her back down there. Hey, you guys want to know how I could tell it was a female? I'll grab her and show you guys. Yep, the circle thing, which is called the tympanum. Whoops, I don't want to hurt her. See the? Yes, it is. That's cool. Bless you.
If they're small,
How do you tell? What's the
big
thing?
guy.
Excellent. Yep. If they're smaller, they're a girl. If they're bigger than the eye, if they're about the same size as the eye or smaller, they're a girl. If they're bigger than an eye, it's a male. Now that's only in green frogs and green frogs and bullfrogs. But this one is definitely a female. And look at the belly sack full of eggs. Would it do me any good to keep her?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Would the eggs hatch?
No.
No. Why not?
Because there's not a safe place to put them.
Not a safe place to put them, but there's something else more important. Right, they have external fertilization. So she'll lay the eggs, but there's no male frog to lay or to deposit what's called the spermatophore, which ends up, it makes the eggs fertile. So really, she'd lay the eggs and they'd be pointless other than I really love the taste of them. No, I'm just kidding.
You do that with fish.
Have you ever had frog legs from France?
I've had frog legs before when I was young.
Legs
Are they good?
They weren't that great. They weren't worth it. There was barely any meat on them.
Look, I am your mother.
I am a frog. Don't have any children yet. But once I lay my eggs, will hatch into tadpoles and they'll start swimming. There's a choice I'm making. It's to leave my little tadpoles alone. 'Cause without me, I don't know, but I don't care. My job's just to lay the eggs. How do we know it's not a bullfrog?
I could talk on the phone. Because its face?
Yep, the face is more pointy, right? Green frog's face is much pointier.
And it's green.
They are, well actually, you know what's kind of funny is the bullfrog is actually very like a light green or yellow. But these guys generally have more brown, or they may be all green, but they have more spots. Bullfrogs don't have spots, and the bullfrogs have a more rounded face. And see these things right here, these two lines? They're called dorsal ridges. Dorsal means back, so they're dorsal ridges, and the bullfrog doesn't have those. It doesn't show like it does on the green frog. All right, I think she wants to
So
go
they don't
now.
have them, or they just doesn't show?
It just doesn't show. There's a slight ridge. You'll see it like up here on the bullfrog, but it won't fall all the way down the back. And sometimes green frogs will stand out even more. Partly because she's so big right now, like if they just eat or if they're pregnant, it's going to make the ridges expand, so you won't be able to see the ridges as well as you can on a skinny frog.
As we were letting the green frog go, a couple of our other campers had located another wood frog.
And how do you know it's a wood frog, Nick?
Because of the mask.
Good job, Connor.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like Batman.
Or Superman or something.
It's Batman.
He said Superman too.
Superman doesn't wear a
He
mask.
meant Batman.
The technical discussion here.
All right, let me set it down. Everybody back up.
Man, it poops on me. I hate when they do that.
I'm trying to bite you.
Look at him. I can smell him. Anybody know what kind of snake it is? What
Gardner.
kind of garter snake?
Common.
Nice work. How can you tell?
Because it has black and yellow. By doing it. Because I feel like it.
Stripes. And what about the head?
The head is it's shorter.
It's longer. Tomorrow I'll bring a butler so you guys know the difference between the two and can actually see it. But you guys, that was great. You guys all knew. Oh, smell that?
No.
Can you show? Can you see the stuff on the bottom, the yellow stuff?
Oh, ew.
You guys see that stuff?
Pooped on you.
It's actually not poop. It's stuff. It's like a urine and a chemical that mixes together, and it's got a real. You guys can smell. It's a real musky smell that actually scares away some predators, just like skunks do. Because anything. Imagine how sensitive other animals' noses are compared to ours. Something that we smell like that is going to smell a lot stronger to a possum or something that's trying to eat it, and it can get grossed out. I mean, it's not called grossed out, but they actually can get sick from a strong smell like that too, a nasty smell. So, all right, nice work. Let's go.
Be a possum.
Did you guys know that? Did you guys know there's a lot more animals that eat snakes, like garter snakes, than the garter snakes would eat? Like garter snakes mainly eat toads and worms, but do you realize that hawks, crows, foxes, skunks, bigger snakes, all kinds of animals, turtles, a lot of animals eat snakes, garter snakes especially.
Our second session at Team Reptile Camp during the summer of 2004 started off finding almost exactly the same species of reptiles and amphibians in almost exactly the same places as our first camp had.
Were there really termites?
On one of our last days with this camp, however, all that
there's a
changed
lot
with
of
us
them around
finding
here.
a couple of different species of amphibians in their early stages of life.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Let's call it Amphibian Alley because of the frogs and the salamanders.
The first unique find were tree frog tadpoles, which we recognized based on their reddish colored tails and short, blunt body.
We also caught a little water bug. Those are cool. We caught 2 little water
Especially
bugs.
because they're
Oh, I see it swimming.
they have red tails. That's weird.
These tree frog tadpoles will spend about 2 months in the pond, breathing through their gills and feeding on algae and other small bits of vegetation in the water. Over the next couple months, they will metamorphosize into small green tree froglets. By the time they come out of the water, they will have developed lungs and 4 legs, lost their gills, and lost most of their tail. Our next unique amphibian find happened soon after we had found the gray tree frog tadpoles. We had moved on a little further along a trail that led to an opening that overlooked a small pond. The hill that led down the pond was very steep and had quite a few pieces of broken glass on it, so we decided to have the campers wait up top while I went down to see what I could find.
It's kind of a newt.
Mud puppy.
No? What's the first stage called of a newt?
Oh, I know this. A nudette. Oh. It's one of those little swimming guys.
See him right there? It does look like a mud puppy because it has the gills, but all a mud puppy is a salamander that retains its gills. But the mole salamander family that we were talking about, hang on. Yep, they are bigger. The mud puppies, the salamanders that we've been talking about, the mole salamanders, those all start in the larval stage in the water. So they start with gills. The redback salamanders that we found though, they don't start in the water. They start on land looking exactly the same as the adults.
Where'd he go?
See it right there?
Where's that? Oh, there he is. Oh, that thing's sweet.
What type of
I believe that it is an eastern newt, but I'm not 100% positive. It could be a blue-spotted salamander. It's even possible that it's a baby tiger salamander or spotted, but I doubt it. Marbles are really rare. Good call on that, though. Marbles are on the west side of the state, and they're very rare.
Salamander larvae spend about 2 to 3 months living in their aquatic environment. Before they move on to land to live, they will lose their gills and develop lungs. Their skin will also change, becoming drier and rougher, which will help them to survive better in their terrestrial environment. Our third session of Team Reptile Camp during the summer of 2004 was having lots of luck finding animals, especially due to some of the unseasonably cool July temperatures. Most Michigan reptiles and amphibians actually burrow or stay hidden during the day as temperatures start to really climb during the summer.
What'd you get? Keeper? Nope, wood frog.
These cooler days that we were having actually made it easier for our campers to find and observe wildlife during this time of the year.
You can probably
One of our more exciting finds was a northern water snake, which didn't seem to care for me all that much.
Everybody go take
Stay back, you guys, because this one, see all that stuff it's spraying?
No.
You don't see all that white stuff?
Oh, yeah, now I do.
What is it? Is that a female?
This is a, woo-hoo. Ow! You guys see how it bit me?
Yeah.
And it really didn't hurt that bad.
I see you bleed.
Yeah, it is going to make me bleed from biting me, but it didn't hurt that bad. I yelled out, ow, although it was just mainly because it surprised me. I don't want it to bite my leg. What's that?
Now can I get a pop? They're not going
See
to
how
hang
it bit
out?
me again?
Bit me again. Doesn't like you very much.
Well, it realizes that if it bites me, it might slow me down. And, you know, it's not like I'm thrilled about being bitten, but it is definitely not hurting me when it bites.
So if I get bit, it will hurt me?
Now, you know what I have to do, though, when we get... Oh, yeah, it'll hurt you guys because it's bigger. But you know what I'm going to have to do when I get up to the car? Is I'm going to have to go back and put stuff on it because I can get an infection from it. You know, it's not like I'm going to walk away going, oh.
Can we pet it?
No.
Definitely no.
This is a big northern water snake. Remember the little one you guys caught the other day?
Yeah.
That was a water snake, a northern water snake, and this is too. So
Ow.
you can see though why people, you know, there's people out there that think, you know, that when they get bit by these, that, you know, they're venomous. You know, they're venomous or poison. So yeah, and they'll think, oh man, I'm bleeding from it, I'm gonna die. And you guys can see, you know, the blood's thin. So yeah, I'm gonna get a little blood, especially on my hand, because it does thin out your blood. Remember how I told you guys about that, what they have? It does thin out your blood, but it's not like it's really gonna, you know. Does it look like I'm gonna bleed to death or anything? No. There's no venom in it, right?
No, that white stuff.
That white stuff was, remember the musky stuff we talk about that smells so horrible?
Spread out.
Which I will definitely let you guys smell that stuff in a minute. So.
I don't want to get by that thing.
No, I don't want you guys getting by it either because if it bites you guys, it's going to do a little more damage than it does me. But still, it's not like it really hurt me, you know.
I'll bite it if it comes near to me.
I'm sure you would. Well, we'll let him go. He'll go down on his own. I'm probably going to wash my hands off. First, I'm going to come up by you guys. Take a nice big whiff in.
Nope. I already know what it smells like.
Can you smell it?
I'm going to go smell it.
Smell this hand.
Look at him go. It smells good. He's not going towards the butter.
He will. That's the first time I've been bit. Well, I got bit last year though. I was gonna say it's the first time I've been bit in a while, but I got bit last year by a big garter snake. But usually they won't bite me because I'm not nervous. But that one probably hasn't been handled much. Maybe we haven't caught it before here or anything.
Now can we bite it?
No. And you wanted pop. You're killing me, kid. You got a good bite out of it. That first one.
Let's see.
I mean, not where it took anything away, but I still feel it. Like normally I wouldn't even feel it anymore, but I still feel like it bit me.
Guys, don't take it, okay?
We left the area where we had found the water snake and made our way down the trail to a small creek. Usually by this time of the year, this creek is dried up, or at least dried to the point where there are only small puddles of water remaining. This year, since we have been having such a cool and wet summer so far, the creek still had some water running through it. We were really glad to see this because a lot of small pike and bullhead catfish, as well as other young fish, get trapped in these puddles and die as they dry up. With the water still running through it right now, it meant that the survival rates of these species of fish in this creek and the area water sources it feeds should increase or at least remain stable. We left the creek and headed back into the woods. As the campers searched the area for wildlife, Amy found a northern water snake that was feeding on a small green frog. Although it was very hard for us to watch the green frog in this situation, it was also very fascinating for all of us to witness firsthand the predator-prey relationship between these two species. Today we have one of our Team Reptile camps with Springfield Township Parks and Recreation out here. And this is an advanced camp we have. And most of the things we do with them are pretty similar to the other camps. But we are going to do some actually what I call an inventories of the species here in Shiawassee Basin, and then we're also going to do it later in the camp at Independence Oaks County Park. And what that means is the animals that we catch and find, we're actually going to measure and weigh and record those weights and measurements and send them in to
the DNR to let them know what we've found in these areas, and more importantly to the parks. We'll give it to Independence Oaks and Oakland County Parks on Thursday, and then today and during the rest of the days of the week, everything we focus here on in Shiawassee, we're going to use that information to give them an idea of exactly what species they have here, and more importantly the sizes of those species that we found. And then we can check that data to some of the research that we've done in the past, and also to research that others have done in the past, and just see how it kind of looks based on what they have and how similar or different our data is compared to theirs. Oh, yep, water snake. Here he comes, coming towards you. Give him a second, he'll come back towards you, and then you can catch him.
So let this guy go.
What's that? Yeah, show it to the camera though, and if anybody else wants to see it. It's a developing green frog, probably within the next, I'm guessing within the next week at the most. It'll be. Got him? Cool, you guys.
Water snake.
You know, I'm afraid he might bite you guys. That's the only thing. I don't mind.
What it looks like in the cattail.
Let me see how mean he is when I pick him up. Let's see if he bites me. Let's see if he sprays me too.
I would like to see my sister get sprayed. That's really nice. I saw something good.
See something else? You guys all get to see this? This is a northern water snake. This is a little one. Nice job. And Chad caught it. He's pretty relaxed.
Man, and we put him.
Just remember, he might bite you, so be really relaxed with him.
Don't lick your hands.
Don't lick your hands. Good advice. Whoops, careful. Remember not to yank him by the tail, which you didn't. That was perfect. Let him just wander through your hand. As soon as he gets too nervous, we'll probably just let him go.
I was about to grab my neck.
Whoa, that's a giant crayfish.
Did you?
Yeah.
We probably need to clean out.
Whoa! What the heck?
Huge. Don't pick him up. He's going to really hurt you.
Whoa, look at that. Those are the size that
It's huge. It's like that big.
Wow.
This thing's big.
Want me to grab it?
Yeah. Are we going to put it in the net?
No, we're gonna. Yeah, we got to clean this one out before we
clean
put
it.
him in. No.
I'll clean it.
Ah! No, I'm just kidding. Oh, he's got little pinchers too for such a big body. Look at that. Look at my stubby little arms. It's the T-Rex of crayfish. I've got stubby little arms. Look at my stubby little claws. Stubby. Da-na. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na. He couldn't even pinch your nose with those little things. I can't believe how tiny those little claws are. Probably had them ripped off at one time, because what happens is they regenerate, but they don't grow back as big. So probably what happened is this little guy had him, well, I call him little, he's a pretty big crayfish, but probably had him taken off at one time by something, or it could be, you know, that it just grew that way. But it is amazing to me how small those little pinchers are. And I'm surprised he survived this long, because he can't really defend himself that well with those little pinchers. If he had the big ones, he, you know, fish, anything coming at him, he could really defend himself. But boy, those little things, look at them. They're not going to do a whole lot of damage to turtles or anything else. I feel bad for him. So, but he's lived this long, which is pretty cool. Yeah, we'll bring it over here. It is very cool.
I just caught a crayfish.
Look how long his tail is, you guys. Just go ahead and let him swim, and
Let me see him.
so we don't have to touch him too much. Look at that tail, though.
Whoa.
I can't believe how long it is.
There's a little bee
Yeah, it is. I've never seen one that long.
Neither have I.
I mean, I would think that it was a crocodile. It's a crocodile frog. It's a new discovery.
A baby crocodile frog.
I just found a crocodile frog while I was searching the swamps of Shiawassee. Yeah, right about 11 centimeters long. And 7 centimeters is the tail.
Whoa.
That is amazing.
That's weird.
And his body's, I mean, his body's pretty big, but it could be a lot bigger.
When he gets full grown, man, he's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Show the camera.
Peeper home.
It's a
peeper.
It's a spring peeper.
It's a really tiny frog. Kind of common around here, actually. Find a lot of them in the woods and stuff.
Jump on me. Jump on me.
He's trying to get the frog to jump on.
They have sticky fingers.
I know. You know why?
We're out here right now back in what I like to call Amphibian Alley, because on both sides of the trail we kind of wander off a little bit. We find a lot of salamanders. Well, right before we did one of our 4-H fair exhibits, Zach with one of the other camps had found a spotted salamander, which I haven't found many over the last probably, I'd say, 10 years. Maybe at best we find one every 2 years. Well, this year, this is the third one. Zach just found this one today. And what I really like about this one, the other two we found were great and they worked out really good for exhibits, but what was kind of unusual about them is generally spotted salamanders, along with their yellow spots, will have some orange spots on the head. The two that we found previously this year do not have those orange spots, but the one that Zach found today does have that orange spot. And he also found a little redback too, which are really quick. It just darted out of his hand. Where the spotted salamander, just like the blue spotted we find quite often, is actually in the mole salamander family. So they move a little bit slower and they tend to try to burrow faster rather than try to dart out. Like those little redbacks can literally jump right out of the hand. They use their tail to kind of propel them along, and they're much faster. But the spotted salamander starts out in the water, and it starts out as a salamander larva, starts out with gills, and then what happens is it goes through a change, and then it moves up on land, and most of the time these guys stay burrowed way down deep in the dirt and under logs and everything. And that's part of the reason we don't find them that much. It doesn't make them uncommon. It just means they're very difficult to find, just like the tiger salamander. A lot of people find those in cellars, basements, under wet carpet, and also in rotted logs, but not as often as you're going to find the spotted salamander because they'll come up to the surface a little bit more. But an excellent find, and we're going to let this fella go and head out on our way to find some other stuff. Well,
How about Meyer?
it's the modern world, my
Even
friends.
if they're by you.
If they're just by you, they won't bite you.
Where did you guys put all the snakes? This is where we found the snaky guys that had the babies at my house.
That's where we found the other apartment.
Yeah, we found a few out here, haven't we? Yeah. Let's go ahead, Pat. Everyone over this way.
No, just There was a slug on your hand.
Hey Connor, can you tell us what you found?
I found a salamander.
What kind of redback?
Yeah. Baby redback. It's a leadback. I gotta look under here. Did you hear what I said? This is a leadback. Yes, you did. It's a leadback? Yes, it's a leadback. Oh, I thought it was a baby.
A leadback?
Is it a baby? It's a kind. Yeah, it's a middle size.
It is pretty heavy.
Okay. Slug.
Ready, set,
Go.
go!
What about you?
Oh, you guys want my help too?
Yeah.
I need to grab an end.
That's
So I need Logan and Connor to move for a minute, please.
Ready?
Hang on. You know what, you guys? Kate and the rest of you guys back away just for a second and go on the other side.
Pat and Matt. Ready? One. Set. Go. Whoa! Whoa! Ow! I got centipede. Centipede, help me.
Here?
A worm. Let me see.
You know, part of the problem with this log, you guys, did you guys notice when we rolled it how tight it was into the ground?
Oh, the salamander. Okay, ready?
It's a baby leadback.
I'm going to get a bucket.
Don't lose them. Get them in the same bucket. You see them? There you go. Good job, Shane. Crawl into my hand. I like that.
Well, we had some great adventures with our 2004 Team Reptile summer camps, and we're looking forward to the Team Reptile camps of 2005. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Team Reptile Adventures.